Hello guys, this is Berman here and welcome back to another video. And today, this is episode 104 of Desert Survival and we are starting off in the Nether because that is going to be where we will be basically doing our episode. So, if you don't remember, this tunnel right here has been expanded a lot 2 episodes ago. So we can just fly all the way over here and yeah, it ends like right here. And now oh wait, for a second I thought that was like, oh, here's the wastes. Thought it turned slightly red for a second. But now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make basically good use of this tunnel. And what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be building another wart farm. And if you're wondering, well, Boomerang, don't you have another wart farm already? Yes. Although it's too small, so we're gonna build a much larger one. So now I'm actually going back because I realized I forgot soul sand. Yeah, I mean, wait, okay, I have it right here. I probably need even more. I probably have some just lying around, to be honest. Whether it's from like making withers or whatever. But yeah, I did not account for that, as you can probably tell. I actually had a decent bit of soul sand in those shulker boxes. So yeah, anyways, let's get started. So, what I'm thinking is at the very end of the tunnel, what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the entrance basically. You see how there are these pillars? I'm gonna basically make my entrance here in between the two pillars. That's what I've done in a lot of different places, and I think I'll just continue that trend. Now, I'm gonna take up these two spaces for another wart farm. I'm also gonna probably make it like this tall as well. The inside I'll figure out a bit later, but yeah. We're also gonna basically make it a square, so a 32 by 32 square. So yeah, let's just get this laid out. So this side's gonna look something like this. So as you can see, I'm continuing the theme of this hallway. And yeah, I've also got this area cut out. I'm probably just gonna leave it like that. I might take a look and see what I did with the nether portal. Although yeah, I don't think I'm gonna interfere with those or anything like that. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it pretty bland. I'm actually gonna double up these warp stems like that. And then if you don't remember, I'm gonna basically oh, jeez. I'm basically gonna do black stone stairs on this side as well, and I'm gonna have my warts like underneath. So basically, that's the exact same thing as I did with my other nether wart farm. All right, we should be able to have a 20 by 20 area to grow nether warts if I did my math correctly, which is a lot. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's gonna be enough. So yeah, I'm not too worried. But yeah, this is 28 by 28. So let's get these rings done, and then we can place the soul sand, I guess. The nice thing about being in a warp forest is that mob spawns are reduced. So basically, we don't have to worry anywhere near as much about, Enderman and that sort of stuff spawning as in other biomes. I've got the rim done, so now you can see that this area right here is going to be where all the nether wart goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically jump like this, place the slab there, and then basically from there on we can now place soul sand so that we can grow our nether warts on it. But anyways, while we do this, I think I'll do my rant. So yeah, let's get to it. Now, if you can't tell, I am kind of in a rush to make this video. I ended up deciding to do something else this Tuesday, and I did promise as a survival video, although I have had a whole lot of homework to do this weekend, so basically I'm just trying to squeeze this in a time block where even though I do have homework to do, I guess I have a bit more free time than homework. So yeah, but anyways, I want to talk about something that I've been meaning to talk about for a couple weeks now, and I am not going to put this rant on my second channel. I'm actually going to make a more in-depth video about it, although it's about left-wing conspiracy theories. So one day, this was actually, I'm pretty sure it's the day after I did the rant. for last episode, I was just scrolling down through TikTok, in breathing and inhaling the TikTok ecosystem, all that sort of good stuff. And then I came across a post from an account named Lennon Lover. Nice, by the way. And the caption it was, Mao Zedong was such a terrible person. It was obviously sarcastic. And normally on TikTok, when you see something ridiculous like that, and oh god, I think I miscalculated something. Okay, I guess it doesn't matter if it's a perfect square or not. That if it's one block off, who cares? I mean, isn't it like you get one nether wart per crop? Okay. Anyways, you'd expect that to be bombarded with comments, hate comments, but it wasn't. Yes, there were some people who, like me, were unfortunate enough to stumble upon it and actually had a brain. I mean, I know those things aren't very common anymore, but Oh, I think actually no way did wrong, but whatever. It doesn't matter. Um, but their comments didn't really get a lot of hearts. Except there are a lot of other people there who's who said stuff otherwise, and they got a lot more hearts. Like they replied to it. And if you're wondering about the comment to like ratio, because there's no dislikes on TikTok, so basically if you want to leave a hate comment, or if you dislike something, you have to either leave a hate comment or repost it. It was only 1 to 5, which isn't the least, but at the same time, that's still pretty low. Like I said, there were actually people who are. Oh, I actually forgot to mention. Although, if you're wondering, it was like saying stuff. Some of these are just blatant lies, and they're completely looking over different stuff that happened. Like, for example, um, they said like Mao industrialized the Chinese economy, and it was a powerhouse at the end of that term. That is actually not true. It was the guy after Mao who did that. His name, what is his name? I don't remember. Okay. And okay, so Chinese history is something I don't really know a lot about. So I couldn't really defend myself when I see that, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it was things like that. It was basically butt sucking to Mao Zedong. And also they brought up some legitimate points like Mao promoted equal rights for women and children and that sort of stuff. Thing is that communist regimes are not all wrong. I think there's like a stigma in the West that makes these communist regimes out to be like these evil, evil things. But at the same time, you can't just gloss over the fact that Mao killed 70 million plus people. I mean, okay, China's a huge country, so that's only like 10% of the population, which isn't too high when it compared to other corrupt communist dictators like Stalin or Pol Pot. But he basically used the exact methods as Stalin, and Russian history is something I know a lot more about than Chinese. You see, this is what I've heard. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not an expert at Chinese history, but Mao was a narcissist. He'd he'd always like or he'd always like say that he'd know everything, and or he believed that. And the thing is that, and because of that, he was the only person who was making decisions, and a lot of them are ill-informed. And not only that, some of the decisions also caused massive famines. Like there was that one I think he requested everyone to kill certain type of bird, although that ended up eating grasshoppers or whatever, and ended up causing a famine. Part of the reason why it caused famine, I actually think it's more because he is more because of the communist policy of getting basically reorganizing society. So like what I mean is that now Maoism, I mean this applies to any communist nation, although I think Maoism especially is the case, but basically a core part of Maoism is that the peasants revolt against the king, and then the peasants have equal jobs. Now, Mao saw that, the peasants, they he wanted to reorganize them so that less were on farms and more were in factories, like in developing nations or developed nations. The only problem, though, is that his or like the crops which were needed to grow, or the amount of peasants he made go to the city, and also the crops that like he forced the peasants which remained as farmers to grow didn't always align with the climate of what should grow. So that's also that I'm pretty sure is why part of the reason why there's a famine. There's also probably instances like, for example, something very similar to the Holodomor, which was caused because Stalin was exporting grain during a bad harvest and didn't really care about the Ukrainian people. He just let them starve. There could have also been something like that. I'm not exactly sure, although a lot of it is partly due to his narcissism, that sort of stuff. Not to mention free speech. If you said anything bad about him, well, good luck not getting a gun to your face. I'm just gonna put it that way. I mean, yeah, that's the case with Stalin as well. He's very similar to Stalin in a lot of ways, except he was a revolutionary, unlike Stalin, who kind of butt sucked off of Lenin for a while till he came into power. But yeah. So, anyways, I just decided to get my nose into this shithole of a post. So I went to the comment section, just said, what the fuck? My dude had zero freedom of speech. My dude, why did I even call him that? He had zero freedom of speech in the China. Basically, if you said anything bad about him, you will get executed. He's caused famines which killed many millions of people. It's predicted that's upwards to 70 million people. He was a complete narcissist, and why are you promoting his stuff? Now, did my post get any likes? No. Was it really noticed? No, except for one person who just quoted, who just said Western propaganda with a whole bunch of clown emojis. So then I decided to get my nose deeper into this bullshit, like this fucking idiot, and said, Nazism is bad, Western propaganda. And then I basically said, how is this okay, but not what I said? He didn't respond. I mean, there are a lot of flaws with the argument I made. He could have very easily picked out one, and I would have had to resort to a different one. Like, for example, the Nazis were extremely good record keepers because they thought they were completely in the right whenever they did their record keeping. So, like, they have basically evidence for, like, all the atrocities they did in the Holocaust and that sort of stuff. I don't know about China. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know very much about China. I am not an expert in Chinese history. I just am not. Although, at least I know enough to know that Mao was not a good person. But that brings me on to why I think this is an actual conspiracy theory. Why do I just not think this is just a whole bunch of lunatics being idiots? Why do I think this should be considered a conspiracy theory and possibly a hate crime as well? Um, and that is really politically correct speech. Like, if you basically said any of that sort of shit about Nazism, oh boy, yeah, good luck. But if you say it about like brutal dictators of communist regimes like Stalin or Mao, or you could even argue Lenin, or anyone basically, oh, it's perfectly fine. You know, just another normal belief. And not to mention, it uses a lot of the same like it has a lot of the same properties as Holocaust denial. First off, they just blame it on something like Western propaganda, or just um bad reading or bad facts or whatever. They basically just try to deflect it. They also don't have any proof, keep in mind, proof to say otherwise. Like, if you actually had proof that, Mao was a good person, maybe the 70 million deaths, that was fake. Show it to me. I'd like to see it. But you don't have any. The only thing you have to have is, oh, it's just Western propaganda. And yes, I'm not gonna say that Western propaganda doesn't exist. Like, it does. It exists everywhere. Okay? But you can't just ignore blatant atrocities. Just say, oh, it's Western propaganda. Like, no. They also tend to resort to looking at the good stuff that these dictators did, and not the bad stuff. They just pretend like the bad stuff does not exist. And let me give you an example. I'll give you another example with Hitler again. Hitler was an animal lover. Weirdly as it might sound, he was an animal lover. You know, he had a dog, and he actually made laws that basically was against animal cruelty. So Hitler's a good guy. You know, he helped animals, he made animals' lives better, helped it, with anti-animal cruelty laws. Why are you guys not agreeing with me? It's that same logic, and oh my god, I am so gonna be canceled, bro. YouTube's so gonna slap me with a strike after just saying that. What I just tried to say is how I think this is similar to Holocaust denial, and like why I think it's basically almost just as bad. And the reason why I say almost as if exactly is because unlike Holocaust denial, which it was targeted at like groups of people, like for example, Jewish people, disabled people, gay people. Most communist regimes, I mean, they used the Stalin model, and they didn't really go after groups of people necessarily, but rather political opponents. I mean, yeah, there might be like some racism, like for example, the Holodomor and like that, all of the horrible shit that's happening in Ukraine that Stalin did nothing about. But it's not like they were intentionally trying to get rid of an ethnic group. And that's why I don't think it's as bad, although it's close to as bad. Because keep in mind, many people still died. Like millions have died. And yet this is just okay. Not to mention, there were like I over and over again, I hear like whether it's from comments or like from interviews, people who are from communist regimes, explaining their frustrations with it. Maybe it's Cuba, maybe they are a bit older and they lived in the Eastern Bloc back when that was communist. They explain their struggles, and then these millennials are like Gen Zs are like, oh no, you're wrong. The Soviet Union was actually the best place to live in. It had perfect freedom of speech. It had amazing quality of life. It was a utopia. And the last thing as to why I think this is a conspiracy theory is because there's no way to convince these people otherwise. They are so dug into that hole that they've thrown themselves in that there's no getting them out. Like if you say anything otherwise, they'll just chalk it up as something like I said earlier, Western propaganda or something like that. There's no way to convince these guys otherwise. There's no way to see, maybe they're wrong. You literally can't. And that's my opinion about some brain rot shit that I've been seeing on TikTok lately. With AKA left wing propaganda. I can't imagine TikTok. The owners of TikTok are probably loving it right now. Like, oh yes, I could get people indoctrinated into CCP. But yeah, overall, absolute bullshit. Nobody should fall down that same path. It is actually disturbing, and I really hope the people who are in this rabbit hole either are young and learn better later on, or they manage to, get help, and they end up meeting someone who is from those regimes, and they actually listen, and they realize, oh, maybe this was all bullshit. And yeah, I think that is the end of this rant. I think that's a good way to conclude it. And yeah, I guess I'll see you back with the video. So now for the walls, I don't think I'm gonna use this same design. I think I'm gonna use one with on the other. I'm gonna keep this for this wall, although for the other three, I think what I might do is like have maybe like a basalt column here and then blackstone. Hmm. I think actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the same thing here with the basalt column. Then we're gonna have a blackstone. Like, instead of warp blocks, I'll have blackstone here, and I'll have walls on the ends, and I'll have panes in the middle. That's what I'm thinking. I actually decided to double up the basalt columns on these three sides. Weird as it looks. The main reason is because it's about twice the length of these, and I think the ratios will just be off when we had one basalt column. Anyways, I have blackstone bricks, so that will be both the bottom and the top layer like this, and then the middle. I might what I might do is I might have blackstone bricks like right there, and then I'll have walls for the first few blocks in this middle section, and then I'll have panes. And this is the design I ended up on going for. It isn't what I expected. Uh, Now I ended up shrinking the windows down. I also ended up putting these windows on the side, and I think I'm starting to get there. What I actually might do is put basalt columns in the middle of these. So basalt column will go here, and I'll go 1, 2. Same thing over there. Let me try that. Oops. I was checking a message on my friend, and now I'm having a staring contest with this Enderman. I did not realize I was looking directly at him. Okay? Anyways, I did what I said I was gonna change. Now, I do have these basalt things, or not basalt, sorry, polished blackstone on the side, but I don't think that really matters. I think this looks pretty good. So I think I might repeat that design on the other sides. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's not the best, although at the same time, it's okay, I guess. This room doesn't have to look the best, per se. After all, it is kind of out of the way. It does blend into here, so it isn't like looking through these windows it will be an eyesore anyways. Oh god, I triggered the other one. Bruh. But yeah, like I said, this doesn't have to be the best looking building out there, I feel like. Oh, I got too carried away building. Oops. Anyways, I got a tiny bit of the ceiling done. I've also got all of the walls complete. And yeah, let's just get that ring of warp stems done, and then we can start working on the very ceiling that I guess. I don't know, I'm gonna light up. I've heard of ceiling. I am gonna put trapdoors here like it did in the main room, or in the tunnel. I also have warp stems here. I think, yeah, this is even, so I'll have to have two. No, I meant streamlights, not warp stems, sorry. And the block for the top is basalt. I figured since it didn't use a lot of basalt, why not? Originally it was going to be smooth basalt, but no, I'm not going to smelt that. Okay? I'm just not. That's going to be way too much effort. So anyways, we now have this nether warp farm done. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like, dislike if you dislike, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Peace out!